Hey, Polly.
Hi.
He's very yellow.
So Phil is away and he couldn't make it tonight. I'm not sure about Craig. Not here now. We could wait a couple of minutes. Got a lot to talk about, I think, potentially a lot tonight, so. Yeah, so we'll just start and first, does anybody need a copy of the agenda?
Sure.
Okay.
Just to let it, excuse me, just to let everyone know, I have to leave in about 40 minutes.
Okay, so we'll get through this early part quick and then we'll just get right into the Earth Day stuff, okay?
Great,
That would be
great.
good.
Thanks, Kathy.
So the first thing we need to do though is to approve the minutes from the February meeting. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to take a look.
Yes.
We don't have to go through the whole motion thing. The only comments that I have, Phil's name is wrong in the attendees list. And as much as I like to see my name in bold letters, we probably don't need that. But does anybody have any other comments on the?
Just a side note, not specific to the minutes. I think when Phil is sending things out through the town of Pompey ECC chair email, the signature is still coming through as Franker one.
Oh, okay.
So just to dig deeper into the account settings to change the automatic signature on it. He writes, like from Phil or best regard, and then underneath it says Franker when previous chair, so.
Never noticed that.
Yeah.
Are we good with the comments then? Can we consider those?
Yes.
Okay, so Paulie, if you could just change Phil's name and then save this as a PDF and send it off to Veronica, we should be good. Our February minutes will be approved.
Polly, Polly, did you get that? She put in the chat box that she doesn't have good audio tonight.
Anything, you will see it.
All right, well, I will.
Should we type her? Can you hear us, Polly? Should we type her that message just to, the only thing is to correct Phil's name?
Polly, are you hearing anything that we're saying? Polly, are you getting any audio? Doesn't look like she's getting any audio. Or at least she said it was choppy.
It's got to be on her end if you're hearing us, so I don't know what we can do about that.
Right, yeah.
Maybe she should hold out and
Yeah.
come on again.
Polly, I'm hearing them pretty well, so it might be on your end.
There it is.
All right, there it is.
Oh, no, now it's gone again.
Oh, boy.
Let her to close out and come back.
Okay, somebody say something.
Hi.
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 All right, okay. Well, we're gonna keep going as long as we've got temporary audio. We'll try to get as much in as we can. So we'll move on to the updates.
No, she's gone again.
You go through those and
Okay.
if something big comes up, I will.
All right, that's it.
Yeah.
Translator?
Yeah.
All right, so you recall that we were asked to identify some potential projects that could be advanced with that $5,000 NYSERDA grant. And we kicked around at least 2 times. We talked about some potential projects. Following our last meeting, John Shaheen asked for a list. So I just wrote up the 4 projects that sort of stood out and I sent that off. It was replace the man in the bay doors at the highway garage, windows in the heated lounge in the office areas of the highway garage, front vestibule doors here at the town hall, and then address energy efficiency needs in the clerk's staff office back there. There's some window replacements and a crack in the foundation. So they were more or less formalized and sent off. So that is taken care of now. And we talked about the energy audit. My husband said that he would do the energy audit to support future NYSERDA grants and projects. After the meeting. Hey, Craig, we're just getting started. No problem. So we, after the meeting, I made introductions. I got contact information back and forth. They reached out to each other, John Shaheen and my husband, and they've missed each other. I don't think they've actually made a connection yet. So I'll check back with him and see if I can start that process up again. Talking to Renee, the members of the town board that she's spoken with are in support of going that way. Martha, thinking that you might want to be sort of like the point person, staying involved with that and maybe reporting back to the ECC as we go forward. Is that too much of an assumption on my part?
No, that'll be fine. I can do that.
All right, then I'll make sure that they know that and I'll get them your contact information so you could stay in the loop with that there.
Okey doke.
Other updates, the short-term rental committee. So Adam, you had volunteered to work on that committee and Phil let Renee know about that. Apparently Ann Christmas is the head. She leads up that committee. She's away at least through March. I don't know, maybe into April.
Yep.
Yeah, so Renee is going to try to get that going as soon as possible. So that's pretty much it for the updates. And moving into new business. Couple of quick things. There was, Renee had sent around the announcement for, was it a Clean Communities webinar?
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody. No. So I just wanted to, check and see if anybody sat in on that. There'll be lots of opportunities for these types of things going forward. And maybe if we have time and interest, we could report back, but there is a new committee that's being formed at the town, and that is, the purpose of the committee is to determine how the town is going to use its federal stimulus money. So to identify some projects or, some needs. And I don't know much about the committee, how much money is involved, but the funds have to be committed by the end of 2024. And Renee is looking for volunteers who might want to serve on that. Just wondering, does anybody here tonight have any interest in sitting on that committee?
I do, but I know better.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pass.
Yeah, so I'll check with Phil and see if he's interested, or it looks like Paulie's gone. Maybe Paulie wants to do it, but
Sign her up.
Not here, you get it.
okay, and if anybody changes their mind, just let me know. Also, in talking with Renee this week, she brought up the idea, or at least the notion of a town compost facility. There's no detail, there's no structure, there's nothing behind it, except we would need to get input from and approval from the town highway department, because it would really, be their job to probably construct and maintain it. But I told her I'd talk to you guys tonight. And
Excuse
see,
me, Kathy.
Yeah.
You're breaking up a little bit. What is this topic?
It's a town compost site.
Oh.
So it would be for residents who didn't have the space or the desire to compost on their own property. They could bring probably maybe food scraps, maybe not, yard waste to a site here on the town grounds.
Yeah.
And just trying to get some feedback from the committee here as to whether or not that's something that you think would be worth pursuing or following up with the highway department, or maybe, some of the cons, some of the pros about it.
One of the cons, in my opinion, would be just because of the area we live in. I don't think most residents are short on space for a corner of yard or a tree line where they're putting compostable materials. Obviously, those programs typically serve more urban or suburban areas, unless it was going to be mainly collected from like the schools or local restaurants that had a considerable amount of food waste, and it was like a regularly, pick up or drop off program. I don't know if a lot of the residents would drive materials here.
Yeah.
With the types of properties most people have.
And there's also the Janesville site, which we do a lot of big stuff down there. It's right down the road, which seems a little, well, I guess we're not in the town to do it anymore, though, are we? I still go there.
Still have a sticker on your car.
So, any other thoughts, though? I mean, there's also, if there's, Renee was a little concerned about potentially rodents or maybe some other
Well, I don't think
vermin.
you'd want it here.
Right.
Do it on the old dump site, but that's all locked up, so. It's one of those, I'm kind of with Adam. Most people that really want that should have a corner in their yard they would mark off for.
And if the site,
What would an average house need, Adam? 3x3, 4x4?
yeah, 3x3 cube, so 3 foot
Right.
cubes would be plenty.
To do something town-wide, if like, and then take maintenance.
Well, yeah,
And if it's off-site, then you're establishing hours and coverage at a different site for collection and that kind of stuff.
yeah, there's a lot of work that's gonna fall to the, not a lot, but there are additional tasks that are gonna fall to the highway department. It's
Sometimes they're busy enough as it is sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
If Renee thinks like maybe a composting workshop or something would be more useful as far as people coming to learn for an hour, maybe,
I
yeah.
like that.
Learn how to, what to put in it, what not to put in it, expectations for how long it takes.
How to do it.
Right.
Mm.
That might serve that purpose.
That's the kind of thing that is stopping me.
Okay.
I mean, that when we were talking about it, I was just thinking, yeah, I just need something, somewhere to somehow to learn how to deal with my food scraps better, because I don't wanna I don't know how to turn it over and.
Right, right. So,
Uh,
yeah, maybe a workshop we could put on instead.
Yeah, I'll touch base with Renee, it's just you, Martha. Do you have any thoughts or?
No, I'm following the conversation. It all makes sense to me. And a workshop sounds like a great idea.
If
Jamesville is still open for composting? Okay, perfect. That might be the easy way out.
Oh, yeah.
Put a workshop, if Adam wants to teach it, go for it.
Yeah, that would be straightforward.
And if we could get, if we decide that's where we want to go and then the town wants to sponsor something like that, a workshop, that might be something that we could, promote at Earth Day. Because Earth Day is everything right now in my mind.
Right.
Or even just ask attendees of the Earth Day thing. Is there an interest in doing something? to them?
Yeah, we could poll. Yeah.
Anybody else have any other new business? Okay. We'll move into the project updates and Earth Day will be up first. I think we're off to a pretty good start here. In terms of. We've got a number of community groups that are interested or considering participating and that's great. So I think one of the things that maybe we want to talk about is starting to push some of the promotion, getting little bits of information finalized, getting some information out there. It would be great if we could continue to build momentum. We've got more going this year than last. So if we can start getting it out, because the actual event is on Earth Day, so there'll be competition for bodies.
Right.
Right now. Cemetery. To do a cleanup day. Started at the same time. 2nd and 23rd. So,
There'll be a lot of that, yeah. So I think that's why we probably want to start with not start the update. That's your update, Martha, but just something that we want to talk about tonight. So why don't I turn it over to you for the update on the Earth Day?
Okay. Sorry if I keep coughing. I'm getting over COVID. So we do have a lot of groups coming this year. I reached out to Heat Smart. You may remember that they tabled with us last year, and we also did a special event. But they're going to table again with us, focusing on the incentives that people can take advantage of when they do efficiency changes in their houses, like heat pumps and insulation. I also invited a group called Climate Change Awareness and Action, CCAA, another local volunteer group. They are interested in tabling. They're trying to get some volunteers together to do that. They have a wide range of, they do mostly information. So they provide a wide range of information to people about climate change, but also about things people can do themselves. Teresa is in charge. Teresa Osborne, who is Highway Superintendent Bruce Way's assistant, is helping us with this process, with the whole project. She's getting a food truck, and Renee says she will pay for a food truck. The town, I mean, will pay for, somebody's going to pay for a food truck. Renee said the cost will be covered. This is a food truck that keeps their own profits, and they charge to come something like $250, I think. But Renee said that would be covered. So Teresa is confirming that they have that date available. Same with electronics recycling. She's confirming, I think she's doing that through Staples store. And she just wants to confirm with them that they are available that day. She seemed optimistic that she could land that. Who else have we got? We've got the DEC. We've got the local native plants group.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I just interrupt for a minute? As far as the DEC, I'm confused about that. So last year, Adam, that was your wife, right?
Not last year, but it will be this year.
Okay, so I thought she was with the county now. She's still DEC?
She's state DEC. She's an ECO, Environmental
Okay.
Conservation Officer. Her region is just Onondaga County, is her patrol
Okay,
region,
I was confused. Okay,
but she's state.
sorry, Martha.
Yep, that's all right.
Oh, yeah, sure. The native plant people, that is, excuse me, that is Habitat Gardening of CNY. They're a division of a national organization called Wild Ones. And they are going to table. They were interested in finding out what kind of trees we are giving away, because they want to be able to give out information on the trees that we're giving away. They have a big focus on, obviously, on native plants, but also on local plants. So they were hoping that we had picked trees that were sort of demonstrably local species. And I did not know the answer to that.
I mean, they're regionally native. I don't know if we have any species that are specifically endemic to central New York, especially when it comes to trees, but they
Right.
definitely are Northeast natives.
Okay, great. I'm sure they're happy to hear that. Phil had reached out to the Scouts. I don't know if he heard back from them. Kathy had been talking with the Stormwater Coalition. And that's still on, right, Kathy?
That's still on. They're good. Yep.
Yeah. We had talked about household battery collection.
Yep, that's still fine. I know all household batteries will be included. And I just have to double check on laptop batteries. Definitely no like car or vehicle batteries.
Yeah, okay. All household, if you're checking on laptop. And who's going to be taking the batteries?
I'm gonna be taking them. ESF has an open battery recycling program. You can just bring them to campus. So whatever buckets we fill, I'll just bring them to campus next time I go.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Adam. John was going to reach out to his teacher friend at Fabius Pompey. So is that happening, John?
Yes, I talked to Peter Wilder. What time is Earth Day? What are our, time we start? How
It's
long?
9 to noon.
So I have a birthday event that day, at Green Lakes to walk. I think he might pass, but well, I'm trying to get some other students. Do something, kid, how many kids we had last year, do you think that showed up?
A kid will show up here and there with their parents.
Yeah, but how many think we had last year? How many? It was a handful of kids.
I
Just a
would say more than
handful.
2 dozen,
Yeah,
less than 25.
gotcha.
For sure.
Between some of the stuff people have been, I don't know if there's any more lists as far as vendors or stuff like that, but as far as the time goes. Between most Earth Day cleanups being in the morning and maybe some other events going on in the morning. I don't know how many times have been set with these vendors, but would we consider doing like a noon to 3 event here for Earth Day? Let kind of all the morning events pass and then people start their afternoon by stopping here.
There's pros and cons to that.
Right.
I don't know how many. Cracks you get to get somebody to show up, you go to one Earth Day event, are you necessarily going to go to another? And,
Yeah.
We can
Also, we've
focus on
already-
that. Just was throwing it out there. If it's, you don't want to do it.
I know that, like with the coalition, they're locked in for that time.
Okay.
I don't know about the other ones. The other thing that I'm thinking about is I can come in the morning as early as possible to help, but I've got to leave at 9 o'clock. So then if it's in the afternoon, then we're down another body.
Okay.
And that's, that we've got, that's another thing we need to look at is how we can
Short on
staff this.
bodies as
Right,
it is.
yeah,
I'm going to be useless to you.
but, well, I guess we'll save that for another part of this discussion.
So I'm scrapping the time change. Sorry.
Was there also paper shredding or something?
Mhm.
Wasn't that?
Yes.
The town does that, I think, right?
So that's, okay.
Yeah, I think that was the town. We didn't have to invite anybody for that.
Also battery tire collection, they're gonna collect the neighborhood waste cleanups, document
Yeah.
shredding, scrap metals collection.
Yeah.
They all fall to, well, not the batteries. Those other ones all fall to the highway department.
It'll be one big poster.
What was it? What was the,
Document shredding,
yeah, and scrap
Scrap
metal
metal
collection
collection.
and
Tire.
tires.
tires, and the neighborhood.
Neighborhood waste. Yeah. Then the other group that I've talked about inviting is Citizens Climate Lobby. That's another volunteer group that focuses on federal policy action. So I'm a volunteer with that group, and what we do when we table is encourage people to take that action as well, which is talk to your congressperson, tell them you want Congress to do more, and specifically push to get a price on fossil fuels, a price on carbons as the most effective way to drive emissions down. So we can have that table there as well.
And was it Phil that was talking to the after prom committee? They wanted to do coffee and donut sale. for their
Yes.
Fundraising.
Yes, he was. I don't know how that might compete with the food truck though.
Yeah, to see if they serve the same thing or not.
Yeah,
Even without them, I'm counting about 10 tables. Groups.
okay, I'm glad you're counting because I just emailed Teresa about an hour ago. Still workday hours out here, but I'm sure she's not checking her email today. And just to ask her how many tables the town will have available for us. Because I don't know. We've used 4.
Tables.
Well, that's something that we have to figure out. Figure out what we need, where it's coming from. So
Yeah, we've
I
used,
started over my emails and it just got very, very confusing. So I put this together to just sort of help me keep track of things. There are a lot of gaps on here, but you know, things like, what do we need? Do we need tables? Do we need water? Do we need buckets? Do we need bags? All these things, you know, and if we
Yes.
can figure this out between now and the next meeting, we should be in good shape. But I remember last year, it was a scramble for everything.
yeah,
It was.
Yeah, it was not smooth before the fact, so. You know,
yeah,
not that we have to do anything with this now, I'm just starting to fill in some of the gaps, but I think we need to. Then there's probably more things that we need to figure out here.
I mean, it's not because she's not here, but as far as tree seedling coordinator, I probably would put Polly down for that.
I would think she
I
is
think
somewhere.
that's here.
Yeah, yeah, down, yeah. Seedling giveaway, it's down below under services.
Gotcha.
yeah, I was gonna ask,
Phil's not here at all,
It's
right?
not gonna be here at all.
God willing, I'm planting notes. I'm not gonna be able to help you much.
I'm available.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Martha said in the email, she was sort of gonna be the general runaround supervisor.
Yep, lead coordinator is the title I've given you.
the board, the coordinator,
Lead coordinator.
a
as in
lead
only
coordinator.
Coordinator. You know, like I said, I could get here nice and early. I could set up tables. I could help start, you know, breaking up the trees, doing whatever.
Tables do you need? Because I'm
That's-
thinking there's only one or two. on
That's what
back.
I'm thinking. We had a big table shortage. So what I put down under these participating groups, contact people for each group. And I'm hoping that we can all call our individual groups here and find out what exactly do they need.
Yeah,
And then let me know. So I can start getting a handle on where we're gonna get this stuff from.
a
And
lot,
what,
a lot of times these groups have their own tables because they're
Yep.
accustomed to going from place to place. So Citizens Climate Lobby, we have a table, possibly two. The CCAA will have their own table. The native plant people have their own table. Heat Smart can bring they have their own tables. We can combine a bunch of these things
okay,
in one table,
Oh,
you
I
know.
don't know what they're dedicated for, but I was thinking there used to be some in the back room, but there are zero. You might be the main man.
Well, the first year I brought all the tables, so.
While you
Oh,
were
did you?
looking for that, Martha noted that a lot of these groups have
Oh,
Their
they
own
bring,
table.
oh, good, okay.
some do, but
Where'd I
not
get that?
half of
Yeah.
them maybe.
If we get short, I've got tables at the golf course. So,
Great,
fine.
The DEC will
Great.
bring their own table.
yeah,
Remember though, we're not just beyond tables. Are there other things that these groups might need? Like the stormwater folks are gonna need water. And we're gonna need buckets of water for the trees. You know,
Yeah.
so just thinking it through, making that contact and verifying who,
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
who
remember.
and what.
Yeah, we figured out sort of late in the game last year that we could not use the tap water at the town hall because it has a high salt content or something. It's bad for the trees. So we happened to find a drinking water, a big jug of water
Got that
cooler.
Expensive system out back. How bad can the water be?
Is it softened? Is that
I'm
why?
almost thinking it used to be reverse osmosis
Oh.
years ago.
Oh.
And a softener to after
Because I
that.
think the
because, you know,
softener ends up adding some salt into it. I
oh,
have that problem at home sometimes with my plants.
Gotcha,
I don't know.
okay. If,
I'm not
I
sure it
can-
was salt, but it was high in something that was decided to be bad for the trees.
I can bring buckets of water and obviously the buckets with the water.
Well, I think before we start saying we're gonna bring things, let's figure out what we need, how much, you know, and let's, you know, actually get a defined list and then we can, you know.
Yeah.
Attach a name to a need.
Yeah. I was going to ask Polly tonight how she thinks we should hand it out. What we've done the last couple years is separate out the seedlings, dunk them in the bucket of water. No, separate the seedlings, wrap the roots in some paper towels, dunk that in water, and put that whole thing into a plastic bag and hand that to the resident, hand that to the person. So as long as that's still acceptable, an acceptable approach, we will need paper towels and plastic bags.
I think it's a fine process. It's simple enough and functional enough. So
Okay. So I can get paper towels and plastic bags. We also need a, how big are your buckets, Adam?
the 5-gallon buckets,
5-gallon tubs?
like your
Yeah,
standard Home Depot or Lowe's
yeah,
bucket.
yeah.
And I have many of them.
I'll also look into the water issue and see what we need. I'll look into, I'll get bags and paper towels. And I will look into the water issue and get back to you.
A little bit, it's related, but a little bit different. Talking with Renee this week, she mentioned that Mary DeDato, where am I? Her neighbor, John?
There you go.
Yeah. She's a pharmacist. She ran now we talked about the drug take back and we said no, and it was a complicated thing and
Yeah.
it was liability. Renee said that she handled the whole thing start to finish the year before last.
Yeah.
She couldn't do it last year because she wasn't available. But she might be willing to shepherd that whole process and take it through. Now, if there was somebody who could do that responsibly, we want to ask John to go and follow up with his neighbor and see if she's interested in doing it again or capable or willing to do it
I
again.
guess my question to her is, how much did she, did
Whether that 2 years when she did it, was
Right.
it worth it? Is
she
it?
bring back
Yeah.
2 prescriptions or?
Or is it a bucket full of
Right.
stuff? But yeah, I can look into that. And if she felt it was worthwhile, I can see if she can. Also a pharmacist, he's retired, so. I can get in touch with her.
Yeah, if you could do that, and then if it's something that they can handle and they, it seems like it's worthwhile. We could get that sort of nailed down because that would be something we might want to promote on the flyer.
Right. Yeah, that's what it is, right.
Yeah.
Drugs and
Yeah.
take all your drugs. We'll take all your drugs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to bow out in about 5 minutes. Can we talk about the flyer?
Yeah.
Yes. So because of the list of vendors and activities and everything that we're going to be offering, I think if the flyer is broken into sections of like things you drop off, things you can drop off, things you can take home, and then information, topics you can get information on, that will be the quickest read for people to know what they're looking at. So, for the most part, most of them are pretty self-explanatory, but Martha, if some of the groups you've been talking to, if they have any typical handouts or take homes that they offer, that would be good. That would be good to know what category they would fit better into.
Yeah, well, CCL definitely has information about communicating with your congressperson to tell Congress to do more about climate change.
Mhm.
And we bring a form letter so that people can write to their congressperson, standing right there at the table.
And so I'll draft up a rough outline just to look at layout and make sure everyone likes, the layout of it. One thing I might also add, I'm thinking is just to put a time on it for like, you know. Just so someone planning can say, easily expect you can stay entertained for 45 minutes or an hour. There's just a small side note on it, so people know that they're not swinging up here for 5 minutes and then running back home. There'll be plenty to do, especially compared to how different this is gonna be from last year.
Yeah, that sounds good. And don't forget your seed packets too. That's another giveaway.
Yep. Which leads to the question, do we want to do the larger tree raffle?
Before we go to that, I want to just stay on the flyer for a second. So Adam, you and Stan, we're going to work together on that. How's that going?
It's not going at all because we haven't done anything with it yet.
Okay,
But I can put up the first draft and then show it to everybody, and Stan has the printing abilities that I don't have. So once we get settled
great.
on something for paper distribution, that'll be turned over to him.
okay. And the
Really
big push to advertise this will come at the end of March. With leaving about a month of lead time. Does that sound
Well,
right?
not with the schools, though, the push is now. So I
I've
guess
already,
FP,
yeah,
yeah, they've got a,
I already sent it to the Fabius Pompey newsletter that goes out every month. So that's already in for the one that will come out at the end of March. We missed the cutoff for getting one in the one that comes out right now, end of February. We missed that cutoff. You really have to submit by the beginning of the month in order to get it into the newsletter that comes out at the end of the month.
that's great. At least it'll be in at the end of March. So that's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Not
Yeah.
too
So
early, not too late.
we got that in. And I also sent it to 2 people who post things on the parent portal. One for the middle school and one for one for one school and one for another school. I sent that to them a couple weeks ago. I just realized today I never heard back from either of those women. So I just emailed them today trying to follow up on whether or not they were able to post that. And then we have a big list of other things that we've done in the past. And people sort of break up the list and everybody takes a few things where they can post either post it online somewhere or post a physical copy. They're like Facebook groups, a Pompey Pines email group, Delphi Falls community Facebook page, at churches, Pompey Lions Club, the fire department, things like that. I've got a big list from the last couple of years and we can divvy that up when the time comes closer. Okay, so I gotta go. What I'm gonna do, just reviewing my actions for the month. I'm gonna be the point person with John Shaheen for the energy audit. And also just keeping track of the process of considering how to spend that 5K. And I'm gonna get bags and paper towels for the event. And I'm gonna, I'm currently checking on tables with Teresa. I'll follow up on that and I'll follow up on the water issue.
Sounds good. When does your vacation end?
Be home March 18th. We're leaving here on Tuesday. We're going to Phoenix and then to the Grand Canyon and Sedona. Oh,
Nice.
yes, pretty nice.
Good luck with the weather coming across the country right now.
Oh, all right. Well, we've had some wild weather out here on the coast. So if we have crappy weather, it won't be anything new for this vacation. Okay, I gotta go.
Thanks, Martha.
See you later.
Before we move off of. Okay, so I don't know who just mentioned the tree raffle? Yeah, so we doing that?
It sounds great, but I'm also looking at the list of everything else going on and we're not gonna have a full committee staff there. So I'm voting or, you know, my opinion is to pass on that for this year. So unless someone's heart was really set on the tree raffle, I'm okay. Maybe putting it off till next year or just not having it on the docket for this event.
Everybody's good with that? Okay, so we'll tree.
And on a less formal note, on this chart here, under participating groups,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna pursue any SUNY ESF student.
Oh, okay.
groups.
Your list. Does Martha have that? Can you?
No,
email
I,
it?
I'm gonna fill in a couple of these and then I'll send it to her. I mean, it'd be good for next year, like we just document some of the contacts and some of this stuff. It just, yeah. So I guess, yeah, the trees have all been ordered. 450 was the total cost for the trees. Never got around to developing a good shipping estimate on that, but Paulie is working with some friends of hers who are gonna be picking up trees. So they're gonna pick up the trees and they're gonna get them here.
Yeah.
And then I guess, you know, we'll figure out. I don't know, whether there might be some little additional cost for gas, or I don't know what it is. But when we get the cost, then we'll figure out how we're gonna divvy it up among who and we'll get that squared away, but that's all moving anyway, and the trees will be here for Earth Day, so that's great. In terms of the staffing that day, it's gonna be tight, and I know in past years. We sort of split it, like we would take, you know, Earth Day is 9 to noon, we had people coming at 8 to say 1. And we had half the folks come in the morning and half the folks come in the later morning. That seemed to work. If we can get a good setup, last year it was pretty nuts early in the morning. They were just like, we didn't have anything. We didn't have trees, we didn't have water, we didn't have bags. So, you know, we don't have to figure this out tonight, but I'd like you to give some thought as to, you know, like what your availability would be on
I
that
can be here
day.
at 8 AM. I'll try to stay as long as I can. So I can be here at 8 on that day.
Just plan like 8 to noon. or
That's why I'd like to
1,
do that. Yeah,
whatever.
I'd build it too. So hopefully I can. It's crazy time of the year, but
Because then we have the cemetery thing that's probably gonna be going. Later that morning and into the afternoon.
And then there's the breakdown though in the afternoon. That's why you're saying.
Yeah, the cleanup
it's the
afterwards,
cleanup, yeah, so, I mean, I can do whatever.
I can also be there at 8 and stay till at least 12:30.
I'm gonna check in with the highway folks and just, like, I could get into this building, which might be good. But, you know, if I could get here earlier than that, I will, and I'll, you know, get tables and things set up, and that would go a long way. Because I've got to be out at 9 and I feel really bad about that, but I totally forgot about what I have to do.
Okay.
all right.
So, we should be okay. Thinking, shouldn't be too bad.
Mark will be here. Holly is gonna be here.
Yeah, Paul, she hopefully will be here early because she's going to have the.
That'd be important. Yeah, that's true.
I'd say John Shaheen was helping too.
Not that I know of,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Misunderstood that. All right.
not on this, but you could ask them. And if we do look like we're gonna be short on bodies, my husband said he'd come down and do some stuff. So. And he port in a storm. I don't know how much help he's gonna be, but we'll get him out here.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Maybe I can.
Perfect. You two will be friends then. Start you and finish there. Thank you.
I don't know, is there anything else for the Earth Day discussion at this point?
I'll put a draft flyer together within a week, email it around, everyone can comment back and we can maybe have some more groups finalized by that point and get that on its way to being.
Good. Sounds good.
What's your brother on it? He's not.
Yeah, this day is a little slow, right? Oh,
So then I guess we'll move on to the seasonal contests.
I was gonna email Veronica to see if anybody had submitted anything, but I did not get around to that, so I don't know if anybody submitted stuff. I know my niece and nephew made a snowman. I told them to submit it, so maybe hopefully there's at least one photo to post. Hopefully there's more. Obviously, it was a good call to extend it. We got snow. So it goes until I think the 12th, we said. So we'll just hang on till then. I can email Veronica and see if anybody submitted anything. See what our head count is on that.
Also this weekend too.
Have you come up Brickyard Falls Road and seen the huge snowman that's on there?
No.
On
No.
like down by the village. I mean, it's 6 feet tall at
Oh,
least.
wow.
Yeah, they must have
Very
spent,
cool.
I think they took the snow up their entire yard,
That's cool. No, I haven't seen that.
but it's not in.
Right.
It's so I want to take a picture of that.
Oh,
See, this is in my front yard.
Yeah.
It's the only snowman. Yeah, that is.
It's like my neighbors.
Let's see, webpage, anything on the webpage? I think I was. If I didn't, that's exactly what I did.
I didn't do anything either.
So, but I actually started on the list that Bill was going to, I'm in on that too, but I never got to him, but it was, I think you had asked for some, like, just general outlines of information that could go on the various topics.
So my last conversation with Veronica was she was open to posting links or actual articles. You know, basically she said we can post anything. There wasn't any limitations on any of that kind of stuff. So it was us deciding how we want to structure our posts. Do we want the same post up year round? Do we want 3 or 4 sets of seasonal posts that get put up and taken down, you know, during each appropriate season? Do we want like a current events line where we post one topic and then the seasonal topics are always down below? So it was just coming up with what types of information do we want on the page?
So I thought I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Environmental documents, that was also me, nothing happened there, cell towers, yeah,
It's just last meeting.
and climate change, Martha's gone, but we sort of hit that with other things. So that brings us into the open discussion, which is actually the Seaboard Solar. So at the time that I put together the agenda, we didn't have a formal referral from the town board on the Seaboard Solar project, but that's because they forgot to do that at the meeting. But Renee said, go ahead, consider it a formal referral. So we can start the discussion. What she told me was, I don't know if anybody sat in on that town board meeting, but the town board had some concerns primarily with drainage issues. They've asked for a full SWIP, as well as I think with like 3 or 4 other issues that they wanted some additional information on. And they're going to bring that back to the board at the March meeting. I think it's like March 14th. And at that point, if it's sufficient for the town board, they'll schedule the public meeting on the solar project. So we have time for the review.
Okay.
But we could open that up tonight and, you know, we don't have to, you know, go through the whole thing tonight. There's a lot of information out there now.
How many pages?
The maps and everything are in this building
You
somewhere.
printed this, good for you.
The maps and any drawings. Now, I believe they're in with the clerk and they're under Phil's name. So we could come down and take a look at those at any time.
Base station, the board have its drainage issues, one of theirs.
That was a concern, right?
Do you have the list of their concerns, just so that?
I don't, actually, I do have, I watched that.
No decommissioning was a issue. So that's one of my big things. When you're talking 12 million to put it up. It's current, and then say 380,000, take it down, but they're only putting up 100 right now, 25 years from now, so.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, 12 million to put it up and 180 take it down, that just doesn't. I was going.
Take it down, what about disposal though?
That's the other, I mean, it's, I went through there's a separate thing in here, decommissioning.
Yeah,
And, they lay out and I just, there's 12,000 solar panels and blah, blah, blah. You're taking so many down a day with 8 people. And it just didn't, and that's just to get it down. Now, what do you do with it?
you got transport.
Well, is there, is it a hazardous waste at this point? What is and I just see this as another mess for the town. And like I say, I'm not against solar, but they need to put up my recommendation, because I questioned it watched it on Facebook and just said, look, why can't we have an independent source come in and estimate what they would think it would cost to take this project down?
Right.
And then the town has solid figures, because Seaboard they're gonna do what's in their best interest. It's a business. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I
can say
understand.
any number that's.
Right, it's gonna be as low as because it's money out of their pocket.
Right.
And it's gonna be as low as they can get away with. And so, that is, when you start looking at all the potentials that can go wrong or things that may happen, and then 25 years from now, I would be very surprised if Seaboard still owned it. They'll probably sell it off, and they might even sell it off as return on investment gets smaller, and the person who ends up with it, well, now we're in a big lawsuit. I mean, that's where my experience with the towers comes in. And where the town is at with the towers, so.
Valid point that doesn't get addressed very often, so.
Well, I mean, it's 25 years from now, well, I mean, if they had that kind of foresight. In this situation. The only thing I can tell you that's new is somebody put up a for sale sign. For one of the towers. Quonset hut that you put
Yeah.
into, there's a for sale sign there, so.
Which is funny because someone driving by just gonna decide. Yeah, I wanna buy one of those.
I don't know.
I'm looking for these.
Right, yeah. That's on the market.
Thinking they put up the sign for one of the neighboring towers, the maintenance guy, you know what, we need to expand, we need.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
That's what they're thinking. Wow.
Whereabouts on Franklin Road is this?
Right, as just before you start down the steep end of the hill.
Yep.
There's a silo right there. I mean, if you look at some of the things, it shows a picture of the silo.
If you're heading west, it's on the right, correct?
Or if you're headed west, it's on the left.
It's on the left.
Yeah, if you're headed left. It's, I mean, if you.
It's all one.
There's like a gazillion map. Okay, so as you're coming down Frank Long Road here, I mean, Sevier's.
Route 91's over here then.
Route 91's over here, yeah, this is going
Okay,
west.
it's on the left.
It's all here, and then that's the lady who owns it. She's on Sevier. She's down at the bottom of Sevier.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
I mean, it's.
Where is she live?
That's Sevier.
That's Frank. The silo's right there. This is Sevier. That's Schmidt is her name.
Okay. Where's Coleman Hill relative to where she
Right here.
is?
This is Coleman Hill right here.
Okay.
You can expand this out. There's a lot of different maps, but I mean, I guess if I were to draw it. You kind of want Route 91, Frank Long goes down this way. Coleman Hill starts up here and Sevier Road's right here. And this is kind of the piece of property we're talking about. That's a post fast. But as you head down, that's what it is.
Yeah, I was just wondering where.
This piece of property, I didn't pick that up, runs from Sevier Road all the way over to Franklin
He owns all of that, but the project itself is right here.
on the Frank Long side.
Yeah, so I mean, she's gonna keep this part of the property right here so that it will not go all the way to her backyard.
Mhm.
It utilizes this part right here, and she still owns up here.
Of which
this one here.
2/3 is open at the moment, and they're gonna clear some trees and, okay.
Yeah, I mean, going through it all, and then basically, well. We do a little bit expanded version of that. This is her, this is Sevier Coleman Hill right here, that's her house. Sevier comes up this way, I live right here, and so I can see the silo from my backyard.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's right. To give you an indication, it's Sevier runs up to Sweets up here.
Okay, right.
Um, mean, it's like, so I don't know how much of it I'll be able to see because it starts to go over pretty steep and the buffers are talking, but I'll be able to see it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm losing out. I mean, this is, you see here, she owns all of this. This is the project right here. So all of this will not be used. She still owns all of that. Oh, actually,
She's actually selling the land to them.
yes,
They're gonna own the land.
they're gonna own the land, but my understanding is they still only get taxed at the farm rate. That's my understanding, so I don't know. I mean, all the structures and all the stuff, that $12 million doesn't mean a thing.
It's no longer farmland when you put a solar tower on it,
But
or solar.
I know there's, I don't know if these, again, I don't know what the exact thing is. I mean,
It's complicated.
it's above my pay grade. Probably, I don't even know if it's in here. But I know the incentives, the taxes are still whatever it's at is what it's at. And all the $12 million of infrastructure they're putting on there is not part of. And that's again where my thing comes in is decommissioning and what's in it for the town. You know, not against me. One of the guys said there was a group of people from Franklin Road that met on Tuesday. And they asked me to sit in on the meeting. Look, I'd be happy to, but I'm no expert. And they're not for it. And even one of the guys said, look, I get solar all over my house, but I just don't want to farm in my backyard. So, you know, in terms of what the Seaboard Solar is eligible for in grants or subsidies or non-taxing, I gotta think it's a rather sizable incentive for them to be doing what they're doing because, you know, maybe we get taxed on 12 million, that's still a little different than what the raw land is. So, you know, again, I could be totally wrong, but that's kind of what I've been told. So that would be a good question. And that was, you know, again, I raised it to Bill Light. I put that to the board to say, what does the town get out of this project? You know, and it's solar companies, so well, they get the energy that's produced there, but that, again, my understanding is it goes into the grid. And maybe it's essentially anywhere. They could go anywhere. And so the town isn't necessarily benefiting.
There's a generic benefit, but not a tangible.
Right.
Doesn't stay here and serve.
Yes, it's good to see. That's why he's got a young brain.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Well, they are open though to community projects, discussing additional community projects. I mean, so I think there's a long way to go in the back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, that was put up on the last one, you know, because the taxes were, you know, minimal and then they were willing to give, you know, but that was an upfront. It wasn't a, you know, over the life of, you know, are you going to continue this every year to keep giving to a community project? And I think that's one of the reasons the one on Sweet Road, they kind of been going in. You know, I'm not necessarily, of course, the board voted and it was voted down, but
What did I guess it was Bill Light at the meeting said, I believe it was Bill Light. No, it was Lewis. Was that the neighbors object?
that is Loomis's, I mean, in the first one.
Yeah, that was the same,
He really
right?
doesn't care what the
Nope.
law says. He says if the neighbors don't want it, then I'm not voting for it.
Not voting for it.
And is more business oriented, numbers, figures. I wrote down some concerns that I have, get into it. Decommissioning obviously is top of my list of what's in it for the town, but there were some wetland concerns. There's some animal habitat concerns. It gave us a thing what solar panels they are, but they didn't give a composition of what's in them. So it's environmental concerns.
And you're taking more prime farmland.
Well, I mean, that is, but when you look at it, they're not using of the project, they're gonna be clearing out a lot of stuff. That goes to the drainage, one of the big ones the board had, which
The
is
trees are slowing down a lot of water.
big time, and that's when they take those out. Franklin Road is already a nightmare the way it is.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be the snowplow driver on that.
And so, if they start, there isn't a lot of, because this is, the farmland is all it is up here.
Right.
One thing though, to keep in mind is the town, right, in their solar ordinance. They have a limit on how much prime farmland can be disturbed, and this project is below it.
Yep.
By 2.5%, below the 15% of the prime, just prime farmland that would be disturbed. This is just. Now, this is the second project we're watching go through since the ordinance was approved. And it almost seems like it's time to go back and take a look at the ordinance.
Yes.
Well, that's- yeah,
I mean, it was a great idea to do it, but it doesn't seem to
Never.
really be.
you never can take into account everything that's gonna happen in the
Yeah.
future.
What do you mean by the take into account?
Well, I didn't say take into account, but I think that there have been lessons learned in watching how this process unfolds with the town board and the community. And maybe, it was a great idea to do that ordinance. It was proactive and, the town should be commended for it, but it might not be the final ordinance. It might need to be tweaked a little bit. It seems like the way things are going, and it's only one at the very beginning of another project. We're never gonna see any solar in the town of Pompey.
That's in my opinion, unfortunately. They face a bigger uphill battle than just figuring out the logistics of it, so.
Well, it's not easy to get solar in this town.
Yeah.
I mean, with that law.
Right.
I don't praise it. But they do like that. So you start talking about it. This you can see right now is all got woods in it already. This is all the farmland. So this would be east. Sorry, guys, this would be east, this would be west. South.
Franklin Road is that side.
Right, and then this is Sevier, there's where she lives. You can see there's a considerable buffer between her and that farm. I mean, Coleman,
Mhm.
and then this is Coleman Hill here. I actually live right there. If you continue down Sevier, Adams, where he goes, is my neighbor. Carol's are across the street, Carol's across the street right here.
Way the slopes at this point. This is currently a hayfield. What is this? Pink?
Yeah, right now, there's nothing in it, it's just a field.
Okay.
Grass.
So all the water slopes this way,
This way.
this that
As
way.
you're coming down the hill, this is going down.
That's where I need to water.
This is where, yeah, I mean, this is where it starts right here, really steep.
Steep, yeah, yeah.
This is their configuration, Frank Long. And this is what really starts to get steep right there, the silos right there.
So as much information is here, there's a lot more that's on its way. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I'll say that would be kind of my starting point is to when I start to go through the document is. What are the concerns of the town board? We can make sure we're answering their questions, which is our ultimate job. And then obviously picking up on anything that we see that's concerning as we go through the document.
This one. It's more specific, what environmental. I've got concerns outside this breakwater.
Yeah.
I think we could say drainage would be the first concern.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Did a great job. This application obviously is pretty thorough. I'm not gonna say that Seaboard didn't do a good job. with the
I found a
application.
couple of sloppy pieces to it.
But it's we covered a lot of.
They did.
Sloppy in spelling or sloppy in
Sloppy in
environmental concern?
places like information contradicted itself.
Oh,
Slight
one-
miscalculations and adding acres and
Oh.
things were or were not
Good for
asked
you.
for, and just little things like that. But I mean,
For you.
I was just on the first.
Yeah, that's what we talked about, you know, there's a wetland issue, but there's no wetland. Stuff like that in there where they brought in somebody to take a look at it. Well, obviously, there's wetlands in there, and then when you talk about seasonal. Obviously, there are times of the year.
Put a wetland in there, they gotta get a permit from DEC to actually.
Well, it's not a wetland.
Oh.
It's a wet, it wasn't, or. And then again, that's where it gets kind of contradicting. They say wetland, but it's not under the DEC.
Okay, it's not in their map there.
Right, it's not on their map.
Right here, it's the word versus this one down here is a class, I forget. but-
Yeah, I don't know the difference.
Yeah.
I just, they, you know. If somebody comes in and.
So that's what you mean by slow.
Yeah. And so I just know. The drainage is gonna be a real issue. The people talking that are right next to this site and everything flows downhill is, you know, is this. a Project of this magnitude gonna affect our wells? You know, what if there is any runoff? What if, you know, something doesn't go wrong? And then reading through all of this, you know, everything goes downhill, goes down to Jamesville Res, Building Creek, then Erie Canal, then Oneida Lake.
So looking just at some of the notes from the planning board meeting, some of the concerns that. I don't know if these are the primary concerns that the planning board is focused on, but things that came up during the meeting. There was, you know, the percentage of the prime farmland. The total cost, the decommissioning bond being too low. Drainage, real big issue. See, more active farmland, neighbor concerns. The selling of the property and what's going to happen after 25 years, and would it actually be decommissioned or would things be sold off over time? The 25-year, the funding for additional programs. I guess Seaboard said that they would not, even if there were marked improvements in the technology and the existing panels started to be less effective than they are when they're installed, they wouldn't change them out. They said they were just going to go the 25 years and then that was it. They were going to close the shop, and the board sort of raised an eyebrow on that one. Yeah, and they're the things that jump out that sort of spurred a little back and forth.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that they talk about that there's things to do. Boils down to, well, who's gonna monitor all that? You know, and that is, I mean, we're such a small town and that's what happened up with the towers. I mean, nobody's been monitoring anything at the towers for, you know, 30+ years, and it's right in the situation we are. So, you know, as great or as good or bad as the law is, there's a lot in there that puts responsibility on the town, and when we get into a project of this magnitude for the building, they're supposed to be in on site every day, I guess, or something like that. And always want to do that.
So that's up to the
Builder.
contractors. Yeah, you have to have a qualified inspector. So, but they do, it's basically self-inspection unless there's really a problem. So there's a lot to consider. There's a lot to go over. And again, I find that looking at a nice large map is a lot more satisfying and informative. They are, I believe, with Nikki in there, and we can go in and see them.
You can read all the fine print around this.
Yes, yeah, they run those great big maps, like, which.
So that's great. Now, I guess we're really not going to get much of a review done for this tonight, but at least, you know, we started the conversation and we've got a little bit of time, so.
As our clock started ticking.
Mhm.
So we
Yeah.
have 30 days.
Well, not really. We, because the planning board asked for additional information, which they're not going to get until the middle of March,
The town board.
the town board, I'm sorry, the town board.
Their meetings the third Monday, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I think, well, I think it's the 14th. I don't know how that lays out, second or third, but yeah. And then at that meeting, they will set the public hearing. That will probably be in April,
If they get the information.
if they get the information and they're satisfied with what they come back with in
Need more deliberate.
months. It's March.
Just started.
I know.
So we, yeah, technically, it's 30 days from the date of the referral, but it looks like it's gonna go a little bit longer than that.
But wouldn't they need our recommendations for the next meeting if they're?
Not if we don't have all the information to review. You know, I mean, that's like,
Where is this stuff, all this report?
okay, all this stuff is on the website.
It's on the
Yeah,
website.
it's on the homepage, scroll down to the
Because
bottom.
Okay, all the stuff that, I forget who sent it, Bill last time or whatever. I read
Yeah,
all
we did
that
not
stuff,
get this
but,
from Phil this
Okay.
time like we did last time.
okay,
Yeah, this is way too much.
posted on the website.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of individual files, so it's, you know,
That's right.
Fun, especially fun.
Yeah.
Should be. This is
Not the same.
right there.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Little light reading before that.
I was trying to follow through this last night.
Yeah.
Gone.
Oh, God, yes, yeah, it's,
I couldn't get through one magazine page.
well, you can log these then.
When you say there's, I mean, we probably 65 pages on. Example. About 1,400 holes. This is what's in every, this is what's in every hole.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's
Oh,
just so, I mean.
I've made a couple of books.
Right there, there's. Says last week. On that. It was made on Sunday. This looks like pretty tedious work, so. It's a lot of that stuff in that. A lot of the stuff, like you say, it's individual. This stormwater pollution prevention plan, a lot of the stuff that's in here gets used in here. Some of the reports are, so.
That's redundant.
Yeah, it's redundant.
Yeah, there's all the
water
whole,
prevention thing, they're gonna go by the state standards.
the standards are in here
Yeah,
as well. You know, there's a lot of stuff that you
Like
don't
you said,
necessarily have to, you know,
redundancy, but.
the permit is in there. It's like,
Well, like, all right, that's like this one standard, they put all everything in there, all the standards, all this stuff. Everything you're talking about. Well, who's checking all of that? Is that supposed to be felt?
no, DEC will, they do inspections and they come out, they should be. Project like this, I'm sure, this is a big project. but I
That's
don't-
good. Would DEC come out?
Yeah, they,
They
well, yeah.
got the manpower to do it. They got, I
They're
don't
tight,
know.
they're tight, but they've got, they have a stormwater, couple of stormwater people.
Okay, all right.
At least, you know, was Julie Melanson and who else is, there's another one. isn't
I
there?
don't know the other way. That's the only one I know. But if they're going to have to pull so many permits for this project, if it goes through, that the DEC will have to come out to verify or approve that they're following the permits. So my concerns aren't so much during the building phase. It's what happens day to day after the project has been installed. So. But if we're good there, I'm gonna end the meeting
Okay.
online.
Let's end the meeting or next meeting. I'm sorry.
Mary got back to me real quick about this, that when she did it 2 years ago, it was affected quite a bit. She also said that Kitty Drugs, they have kiosks for all the stuff too, so is it redundant if we do it? She can't collect any narcotic or controlled substances, sedatives and needles. She thinks she has it out, so she's willing to do it again if we feel it's necessary, so.
Well, we sort of wrote this one off already, right? So if there were limits on what we could bring, rather than have to deal with people coming up with old used needles and stuff and saying, no, we can't take that.
Right.
Why don't we just say no? Okay,
But no, thank you for the.
yeah,
But I
Yeah.
guess her point is, I didn't realize you could take it to the pharmacy.
Yeah, they have kiosks, you drop stuff off,
Okay.
so.